Measures of central tendency. Okay, you guys are going to not so much learn about mean, median, mode, because you should have had experience with that back from like elementary school. But we're going to be talking about it in the sense of like frequency tables and things like that. And it's a same concepts, but you got to be careful because it could get a little tricky. We're just reviewing these words, these terms. You guys should already know this. Mode, that's the one that appears. What? The one that appears the most, okay? Mode was most. So if you were going to list the data, it was the one that showed up the most. Well, when you're looking at a frequency table, okay, it doesn't list out every single piece of your raw data. So the mode would be the part of your table that has the largest frequency, okay? Median is still the term that's in the middle, and we'll still use that formula of n plus 1 divided by 2 to locate where the median is actually. Okay? Then for your mean, what do you know your mean to be in your words? Average. How do you find it? Add them all up, divide by how many that you have. Well, the thing is that when you're looking at a frequency table, you know, it's basically the condensed form of all your raw data, so you can't sit there and add all your pieces up. So what you actually do is your numerator is your frequencies times each of your x values divided by your total frequency. So again, we're looking at this from a frequency table standpoint. So when it comes to the mean, you take your frequencies and you multiply them, hence the parentheses. You multiply it by each of your x values. So whatever we're talking about, whether it's shoe size, whether it's number of red cars or something like that, you take each of those x values and multiply it by its frequency and add all those up, and that's your numerator to find your mean. Then you divide it by your total frequency, which is however many data points you end up collecting. That's how you find the mean. So what we're going to do is we're going to look at a few problems that are on the inside of your foldable that address some of these measures of central tendency. All right. Here's one. This is a very simple, basic one, similar to something that you might see on an SAT type problem. It says Jen obtains marks of 76, 54, and 65 on his physics, biology, and history exams respectively. Calculate the mean for all 3 exams. Now this, you go back to what you know of how to find mean. How do you find the mean again? Add up all the values and then divide by what? By the number of values. Well, what's my number of values then? 3. So you basically divide by the number of exams that he took. So what is that? It's 65? Yes. Okay. So the mean for all 3 exams is 65. Okay, that's old. You should know how to do that. Okay, prior to this class. Now it says find the mark Jen must achieve on the math exam so that the mean mark for all 4 exams is exactly 68. Okay, when you add in another piece of information, another data point, now we're no longer dividing by 3, we're now dividing by what? 4. Do we know what that 4th test mark is? No, but we know that when we add it to the physics exam and the biology exam and the history exam, when we add in that new test and divide by 4, it should equal what? 68. And this is how we'll be able to find the math exam score. Okay? How would I solve for M?
We multiply 4 by both sides and then subtract all 3 values on both sides.
Mm-hmm. So it's 68 times 4.
272.
What's 76 plus 54 plus 65?
195.
So then
M equals 76.
M equals 76. You said 76?
77.
77. So he has to get a score of a 77 on his math exam in order for the average between all 4 exams to be a 68. Okay? All right, now.
What did you say XI equals again?
So to calculate the mean, mode, and median of this data, first let's start with the mode. What is the mode?
22.
The mode is 22. In general, how do you find it?
Whichever one has the highest frequency.
Whichever one has the highest frequency, because this is the condensed version of your number of sweeps from actually that example from the very first set of notes. Okay? Instead of all the raw data being listed out, it's all condensed, so you have to look at the one that has the largest frequency. The median.
22.
The median would be 22. How do you get that?
Process of elimination.
So you sat there and you did 20, 24, 20, 24, 21, like you went like that?
I did tallies, yeah, on the side.
Okay. There's a different way, because again, that works. It's only 24 pieces of data, so yes, you could sit there and you could do that. Okay? But if you had like 200 pieces of data, that would take a lot of time, and you don't have that time. What's the formula to find median?
N plus 1 over 2.
N plus 1 over 2. What's N?
24.
So this would be 25 over 2. What is that?
12.5.
12.5. Now this is the same formula that you get from the cumulative frequency curve. It can be used for a frequency table. Okay? Basically, you're looking for your 12.5th term. Okay? So you can start here and you can say, okay, what's 2 plus 3? 5. So you know it can't be 20 or 21 because that's only 5 pieces of data. I'm looking for the 12.5th piece of data. What's 5 plus 13?
18.
I'm already at 18. Doesn't 12 lie in between 5 and 18? So then your median will be located in this entry point. Okay? It's the same thing you get if you sat there and you went from both sides, crossing out and canceling out, which does work. Because, I mean, it's a small number, but if you had anything bigger than that, that's a lot of time that's taken. But if you find that halfway mark, you can just continue to count. These values are called your what? They're your cumulative frequency. Okay? It's continuing to add up your pieces of data until you would reach technically 24. Okay? That's also the same way you could find Q1 and Q3 in a frequency table instead of looking at a cumulative frequency curve as well. Okay, you're looking for that particular entry inside of your table. The 12 and the 13th piece of data would be 22 and 22. So then the median would be 22. Questions? To find the mean, you're in a frequency table. You're not going to sit there and say 20 plus 20 plus 21 plus 21 plus 20, and so on and so forth, okay? Instead, you need to multiply your frequencies and your data values. What's 2 times 20? 40. What's 21 times 3? 63. And you keep going with this process. 22 times 13? 286. 23 times 4? 92. 24 times 2? 48. So then you need to add all those up together. What do you get? Confirmation?
Yes.
529. That represents the sum of your frequencies times your data values. That becomes your numerator. You divide that by your total frequency, which was what? 24. And then from there, you'll be able to find your mean, which is
22.041.
0.041. So then it would be what to three significant figures?
22.0.
Oh, 0.
Just 0. Just 0. So a bag contains 6 numbered balls, 1 through 6. The balls are drawn at random and the number is noted. The ball is then returned to the bag. The numbers for the first 30 draws are given to us. So, what is the value of n?
30. Oh, wait, I'm sorry. 7.
It should be 7 because we know that all the frequencies should add up to equal what?
30.
Should add up to equal 30. So if we already know that this is 9, plus 3 is 12, plus 6 is 18, plus 5 is 23. That means that 23 plus n has to equal 30, so n is 7. Then you have to calculate the mean number. Well, you have your x values, you have your frequency, so what should you do with them? So that's 1 times 4, plus 2 times 5, plus 3 times 3. And unfortunately, you do need to know your value of n, so then that way you can actually find the mean of your data. Once I multiply those and add them up, I divide by,
30.
because that's how many balls or how many draws you did. And what is the mean?
3.7.
It ended at 7?
Yes.
Okay. And you have to write down the modal number. Modal sounds like mode. Mode means the one that shows up the most, or that has the largest,
Frequency.
which is,
7. 4.
so then our modal number would be 4. No matter with the median, the mean, or the mode, it should always come from your x values, okay? Or whatever it is that you collected your data of. So it's the numbers that are actually on the balls. For the last example, it was your number of sweets. So 22 was the median sweet, 22 was the modal sweet, and so on and so forth. The last one, it was the mean grade. Okay, it's always based off of whatever the x value is. But that is how you find mean, median, and mode when it comes to a frequency table. Any questions?